Today we talk about something real that most people never even get to hear about. I looked at official records of the inmates' deaths that happened in custody of South Carolina Department of Corrections between 2023 to 2025. Those numbers tell a story. 280 inmates lost their lives while in the custody of South Carolina Department of Corrections. A lot of red flags, a lot of things that made me want to see a little bit deeper. And I saw a lot of things that could have been corrected. We're going to talk about it all. 12 years, 85%. I did it. I stood on it. The thing about the streets is you can be caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time. I still got partners out there. You can't expect everybody to see things the way you see it when everybody didn't go through what you went through.
Real topics, real stories, real events. Get my real output.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Illa Gezey. I am your host, Illa Gezey. On this particular episode, I wanted to take a dive into something that I've been looking for ever since January. I requested a list of suspected suicides and all deaths that happened within the custody of South Carolina Department of Corrections between January 1st, 2023 up until December 31st, 2025. Initially, I went into this because ever since I left the Department of Corrections, I started to see a lot of things like they would post a lot or send out media alerts. And I would start to see a lot of people, then they would say, oh, suspected suicide, or this might have happened, or another person passed away. And I start to see it too much. So then I'm wondering what's really going on because I was back there. I've seen riots. I've seen where it was chill. I've seen where it was turned up, but I ain't really seen it where it was this much going on at one time. So let's take a dive into what I found out when I looked into this. The records for number one, man, the numbers are increasing. In 2023, there were over 80 deaths, men and women. In 2024, there were over 90. And you can only imagine what happened in 2025, right? There were over 100 inmates that died under the watch of the South Carolina Department of Corrections in 2025. So if you can see the pattern, right? I didn't go back and look further back to see if it was higher in 2021 and 22 or lower. Mainly because between 2019 and 2021, there were a lot of COVID-related deaths, and I don't want to mix and mingle that period of time with what I'm looking at. Because what I'm looking at is just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to figure out why. So now that we see the increase, we do understand that there's a yearly trend going on. And if this trend continues, then that means in 2026, we're looking at probably 110 inmates, men and women, dying in the custody of South Carolina Department of Corrections, right? At least that's what the trend is saying. I mean, the numbers aren't going down, they're only going up. And these are facts. This ain't alleged. These are facts. I can break it down. Let's break it down all the way into, we can break it down into natural causes, suicides, and pending investigations and so on and so forth. I broke all of this down. The second thing I want to talk about is the average age of death is around about 55, and that tells a lot on both ends. That's telling me that a lot of people are staying back there. A lot of people aren't maxing out. A lot of people getting 30 and 40-year sentences. That's tragic. That's tragic. But let's take a little bit deeper dive into these numbers real quick, because when I saw these numbers, I didn't like nothing that I saw, and it got kind of serious because it goes all kind of ways, and then we're basically bringing awareness to the situation. But the numbers, the longer sentences, these inmates in particular, um, what I've noticed is that I guess natural causes can be anything, but there's a lot of different ones that are saying natural causes. But let's talk about how much time some of these guys serve. And so the top three that I picked out, Johnny McDowell, he served 48 years before he passed away. Philip Pendergrass, 46 and a half years. James Cox, 45.9 years. Those numbers right there tell you everything you need to know about our system itself. It ain't set up for you to just make it home. No. Once you're on that low end and you're, slipping away, they're gonna let you slip away. You can fight for your life better outside. So that tells you a lot. Can they really take care of senior citizens back there? I don't know. Another thing I looked at, and this is very tragic, and this is very shocking to me, and I'm curious as to why, because I could take a deeper dive into all of these cases one by one, but it's 280, and a lot of these go deep. I even spoke with a parent yesterday, and her son is on this list, and her just telling me about his story. His name is Isaiah. Her just telling me about his story, and then I'm looking at everything she's sending me from to his letters, canteen lists. Man, something definitely, like I told her, something definitely took place that wasn't right, and it sounds like negligence on their end, but I can't prove that. That's just what I saw, and from what she's telling me and from what I'm seeing, something wasn't adding up, because from one day he's all good, and then a few days later he's in protective custody, and the next day he ends up they find him hanging. And the timeline of events is what she was showing to me that definitely looked crazy, especially around 7:15 that morning. They said they saw him standing, but he wouldn't acknowledge them or anything. He didn't say anything to them, and he wouldn't respond to them. So 8 o'clock that next morning, 8 o'clock, it was 7:12 when that happened. And then 8 o'clock, which is pretty much like 45 minutes later, they went back and they found him hanging. So she has a story to tell. People like that have stories to tell. That was her son, you know? And he had just got on that yard. And I mentioned that because I'm about to mention some of these people who died soon as they arrived. Not immediately as soon as they arrived, but this is a list of 4 people that came off of this list. You had, I don't know, Gregor Leon. He died in 8 days. 8 days. Glenn Case, 8 days. This is how long they lasted in the South Carolina Department of Correction. Like, what's going on? Jaron Morris, 11 days. Karen Marie Wall, 23 days. Yeah. Whether it be severe medical conditions, overdose complications, or untreated illnesses before incarceration, something still ain't right. Some people died within weeks of entering prison. That's crazy. That's crazy. And that's what caught my attention a lot. Along with leading causes of death, the natural causes lead the race, of course, is 151 natural causes. 66 pending investigation. Now that tells you a lot. And just talking about Isaiah, his, when I got the paperwork, said pending investigation, you know. But she showed me everything, and they already ruled through the autopsy and stuff. But I didn't get that. Maybe it was a timing thing between the autopsy and when they sent me the documents. I don't know. But a lot of pending investigation, and that made me wonder a lot about why would it be so many pending. I don't know. I don't know. But then you got 20 accidentals. That tells a different story. 19 suicides, 12 homicides, 6 executions. I went into this looking for suspected suicides because I was seeing so many they were accusing of that. And I just didn't know what that could be about. And then I started seeing just more than just that. It's just people just dying left and right. Something ain't right. Whether it's negligence, whether it's mistreatment within the healthcare system part, whether they're just elderly and y'all not trying to keep them alive when they are on their last limbs. Like, I don't know what's going on, but something ain't right. Am I tripping? Seems like something ain't right. Let's take it a little bit further. Pending investigation, that's 66 of them. Nearly 1 in 4 deaths are pending investigation. Whether they wanted to release it to me and they don't want media to have it yet, and maybe they're just going off a different timeline of events. I don't know. Autopsies, toxicology reports, law enforcement reviews. Maybe it's other things that I'm not privy to. But 66 deaths pending investigation is crazy. That's crazy. Then I start to see the facilities. I start to see a pattern. Broad River. Lee County. It's a lot at Broad and Lee County. Turbeville, and then Evans. SCDC Medical had 42 deaths. I'm not sure which ones happen in SCDC Medical and how it happened, the way it happens, but 42 what happened within SCDC Medical. Larger prison populations means you need higher security levels, right? There's something going on here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. But the reality is there shouldn't be an increasing amount of deaths happening every year in the South Carolina Department of Corrections. There's a mental health crisis going on. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are crying for help. I'm pretty sure that will resolve maybe 50% of these cases. Yeah, they have mental health counseling, but you need people there all the time for mental health. All the time. That guy Isaiah, he asked for mental health, and they told him that the person wasn't coming back until Monday. So what does a person like that do when they're going through a mental health crisis or a mental health breakdown? What are they to do when there's no one to talk to? What are they to do? Because there's just those 4 walls. Who are they to talk to? That's a serious situation. I don't know who to blame for this. I'm not throwing the blame on nobody. But South Carolina Department of Corrections have to take accountability. 280 from 2023 to 2025. Over 80 in 2023, over 90 in 2024, and over 100 deaths in 2025. This under y'all watch. This all facts. As I went through the whole 280 inmates, it really touched me and it really hurt me. And just to have to look at it and acknowledge, I've been around some of these guys. I've crossed their paths. I've interacted. But behind every single number is a person. You'll look at the list and get trapped in the numbers. But all these numbers are people that lost their life while at the Department of South Carolina Department of Correction. I mean, the data shows a system dealing with aging prisoners, medical challenges, and difficult realities about life. Something ain't right. Okay, y'all giving mental health support back there. I've seen it. But is there 24/7 mental health support back there? Probably not, huh? They probably need something like that. They probably need the counselors to come around a little more often. Because I can understand why mental health would kick in back there so hard. It depends on how you were living out here will translate how you're going to be in there. And the mental health, if you have an issue, it's going to ramp up times 10 in there. Because you're trapped behind these walls. You're limited on so many things. It'll drive you crazy to some extent. And when you're having a mental health crisis, other inmates will tell you all kind of things. Shut up, be quiet. Or you might have the good inmates, hey, CO, get that man some help. All of that. But I don't like to see the attempted suicides and the suspected suicide. Nor do I like the natural causes, nor do I like anything else. But all of it is a telling sign. What are these natural causes? Why so many suicides? What's really going on with the pending investigation being so many of those? And what's going on at Broad River that has the most deaths in the Department of South Carolina Department of Corrections from 2023 to 2025? I'm just trying to get some answers, and I'm trying to shed some light on these 280 men and women that lost their lives while they were doing a sentence that they were sentenced to. And who's to say if they were all guilty? Who was to say if they were any innocent? Who's to say if, they wanted to die? Who's to say any of this? But to see this many people on a list and have to look at every single name, study every single situation, it'll break your heart. And listening to that mom talk to me about her son, she spoke to me about it, and having to listen to her cry, that makes me want to just shed more light on what's really going on in the South Carolina Department of Corrections. Things changed back there throughout the years. They just changed leadership. I believe they just got a new director in January of this year, I believe, or within the past year, they exchanged leadership and they have a new director over the South Carolina Department of Corrections. I don't know what his goals are, but mental health should be at the highest, because when you are sentencing guys back here to so lengthy amount of time, and you put them around other guys with a lengthy amount of time but may have a chance at coming home, but you putting all these guys around other guys, and you have this 85%, meaning a person has to do 85% of their time and they're not eligible for parole at all. Those are for the violent offender. It sucks. And this is beyond just the South Carolina Department of Corrections. This is sentencing reform. This is something that needs to be looked at. Why are we still abiding by laws from 1996? Y'all don't think something wrong? Like, something needs to change. We need better mental health back there. We need better sentencing structure. We need more things for the inmates to do so they can keep their minds focused on trying to get home, on trying to better themselves while they're back there, on trying to show growth. But at the same time, if y'all want them to show growth back there, give them something. Give them something to want to do right for. You want them to just do right, but you don't got nothing to give them in return. Let's shed some light on this, man. 280 men and women since January 1st, 2023 up until December 31st, 2025. It's crazy. It's crazy. We might take a deeper dive into some of these cases. So this may be an ongoing episode type of structure right here, because I've seen some of these that need to have more deeper research and more deeper conversation about, and I would love to do that. So y'all bear with me. This was episode number 13. Make sure y'all support y'all people that's in prison. Answer them phone calls. You never know what's going on. Ask questions. Make sure they're straight mentally. Y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe if you like what I got going on. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.